I think I've been saying I will talk about Radiophobia for the past 6 months, at least. So many of you guys have been recommending the mod to me. Well, it's done. I had to beat a very bad StarCraft addiction first, then I had to do a couple playthroughs of Stalker 2, obviously. I'm waiting for new patches and a better computer to do more videos about it. So for now, we are back to covering some good old Stalker mods. This video is a quick review of Radiophobia, so you can see if it's something you might be interested in trying. I will have a full playthrough coming soon after, but today I'm not gonna show you too much to avoid any spoilers. But technically Radiophobia is a remaster of the original Stalker game, Shadow of Chernobyl, so if you played it, you pretty much know the main story already. Actually, I shouldn't call it a remaster. I have a feeling it's gonna make some people angry. Remaster feels like it's something official. It's not. It's the original game with better graphics, improved gameplay, weapons, UI, and a lot more. A full modernized overhaul of the OG game if you want, with some twists and new missions on top of it, but not a remaster. And technically, it's not even built on Shadow of Chernobyl, but OGSR, which is already an overhaul of the OG game with a new engine, and technically OGSR is itself a rework of OGSE, so Radiophobia is more of an overhaul of the overhaul of another overhaul, and that's skipping a lot of details. Welcome to Stalker modding, it only gets worse from here. Let's just say you just discovered the Stalker franchise with Stalker 2 and want to play the original games. You might think, wait, that's perfect, Radiophobia means I can play Shadow of Chernobyl, the original game of the trilogy, but with better updated, upgraded, improved everything. Yeah, sure, I guess. Personally, I would still recommend playing the original game first, if it's your first time. You can slap a mod like Zone Reclamation Project on top of it if you want. It brings a lot of bug fixes and stability improvements to the game, but that's it. You will have the true vanilla experience, which is kinda the best. Some people will say, but the old games are so outdated. No, they're not. Old school, yes, a bit clunky, yes, but not outdated in the sense that they're not enjoyable. There's some very special kind of magic happening in them, and everybody should experience that at least once if you're a Stalker fan, I think. Radiophobia brings a lot of new things to the table, which is good, that's what we want, but it completely changes the gameplay, ramps up the difficulty quite a bit too. It's still the original storyline, but with a lot of little new side quests and subtle changes, so it's perfect if you played the original Shadow of Chernobyl a long time ago, you've been deep into Stalker modding for a while, and now you want to replay the original story with a twist and a lot of improvements that you're used to from the more recent mods. But in the end you do whatever you want, there is no bad choices anyways. The installation couldn't be easier, just download, extract and run the installer, that's it. I chose to play with the vanilla models, so technically there's one extra step to copy-paste the files in your main game folder, but in terms of Stalker modding in general, it couldn't be more straightforward. It's a standalone mod, so you don't need to have any of the original games installed for it to work. And there's an option to add the reshed too, if you want, for even better graphics. So what makes Radiophobia so good? Well, I could go over every single detail and change and mod it's using one by one, and we're gonna do that a little bit later. But to keep it simple, let's say that as an overall experience, it's one of the most immersive mods I've played so far. And for a true Stalker fan, for people like me that have been playing different flavors of the same game for the past 15 years through different mods, that's the metric that's the most important. That's what brings us back to the zone over and over and over. And Radiophobia absolutely nails the immersion aspect of the game. Let's take a simple example with the visuals and sound design. I could tell you that all the textures have been replaced by high quality version, that it's using atmosphere and absolute nature for better looking zone and weather, and a dynamic weather management on top of it. Screen space shaders, cinematic VFX, a custom reshed preset, new high quality sounds, really good gunshot layering, and so on and so on. But it's like listing all the ingredients of a very good recipe. It's not really important. What we want to know is, did the cook do a good job, and does it taste good? And Radiophobia tastes really good. Really good in the sense that I'm traumatized. That every bush now scares me because I'm afraid something is gonna jump out of it. There's always some weird creepy sounds and distant gunfights keeping me on edge. Real stuff happening, real alive. Mutants have already traumatized me multiple times, and other stalkers too. Nobody told me to play it slow, to be stealthy, to avoid fights or take my time to scan areas to make sure they're safe before going in. I just started doing it naturally, as a way to simply survive, and that's the best feeling when you think about it. A game so immersive that you're not trying to brute force it or play exactly the way you want, but actually have to adapt to your environment just to survive. You actually have multiple choices and approaches you can take for every situation, and it really respects your intelligence as a player. And like every good Stalker game and mod, you're not the hero here, just a regular guy trying to make it through the day. So yeah, the general atmosphere and mood are on point. The game looks great and sound great, performance is good, a bit of stuttering here and there, but nothing too bad. The mod is hard, yes, but much less than the previous patches that I've heard traumatized a lot of people. And that's in the highest difficulties. If you play on easy, it is actually easy, so it's tailored for all kind of players out there. You die fast, but enemy stalkers and mutants too. The ballistics and overall balance are good and pretty fair. All the weapons have been replaced by bass and a sprinkle of gunslinger, so you have a ton of choices. It's not uncommon to find weapons in good condition on dead stalkers that you can use straight away, which is really nice, without making the game too easy at the same time, which is very important. The repair system is simple and pretty straightforward. There's not really any item bloat or overcomplicated things, while still keeping all the game's mechanics interesting. Thirst, hunger, radiation, bleeding, skinning mutants, stashes. Everything is clear and simple, but the gameplay is actually pretty deep and challenging. It's literally the opposite of what I would call artificial difficulty, and it's actually really nice to see it in action. It's a simple but very tactical mod. The AI in general is really good. I keep getting outsmarted or outplayed by other stalkers in fights, which is really frustrating. I don't know if I'm dumb or they're dumb, if we're all playing 4D chess, but the fights are intense and unpredictable. Maybe because I've been fighting a lot of bandits recently and they're very disorganized, which makes a lot of sense lore-wise if you think about it. Because the way mercenary or even monolith fight is very different. It's kinda amazing that you can feel the difference between factions when fighting them. And it's the same with mutants. Very often they will just chill and leave you alone if you don't mess with them or come too close, and sometimes they decide this guy needs to fucking die, and if it's early game you better run. The A-Life is on point. One of the things I told myself before starting to write this review is do not compare everything to Stalker 2. Especially because we are waiting on some big patches to fix things, but damn, if we could have A-Life this good in Stalker 2, I would be so happy. The zone feels alive, unpredictable, there's always things going down around you. Whether you want to go check what's happening or not is your decision, but it's here and it's happening. You're just one character in the middle of a big world, constantly moving and changing. We go back to the immersion. It's all these things that make the experience so good. I really like the economy of the mod. If you're smart and careful, you can survive without having to interact with traders, and only use them from time to time for a big upgrade or weapon you might want, for example. But you can fully rely on yourself to survive, and the better you become at managing your resources. Trading with random stalkers can let you get things at very good prices too, and makes you want to interact with the people you meet, and I really like this aspect of the game. Artifacts are super important and will make your life a lot easier if you use them for yourself, but they're used a lot in the zone economy, for mission, access to some traders and technicians, so artifact hunting is really a core activity in the gameplay loop, and I couldn't be happier about it. You know how much I love artifact hunting. And the more I play the mod, the more I can see the attention to details and love that's been put into it. From all the new PDA messages from random stalkers that help with the immersion, to a very simple but well thought out gameplay options menu, where you can turn on or turn off some mechanics or animations you might like or not, and so many things in between it would take too long to list. It's been an amazing experience so far and I highly recommend it. As I said in the beginning of the video, I've been enjoying it so much so far, I'm probably gonna do a full playthrough soon on the channel. It really ticks every box I really care about, being from the immersion aspect to the graphics, the visuals, the sound, the general atmosphere, the gameplay, the whole balance of the game. Like it's just a very solid mod. So thanks to everybody that kept me pushing to try it. As usual, you will find all the relevant links in the video description, and I'll see you guys soon. Cheers.